and welcome to We the Village, produced by Ron Hall, and I am your host, Sharonda Allen. And today, I have a wonderful children's author here with me today, Tara Mozee. Welcome to We the Village.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I am just so grateful that you took time out of your busy schedule to be here. But when I met you at the NJEA Teachers Convention, I said, you got to be on my show.
Glad to be here.
Yeah. So let's start off with where are you from? Where'd you grow up?
Sure. I'm from Sicklerville, New Jersey, in South Jersey. I actually grew up in Camden, New Jersey.
Okay.
Went to school at Camden High. Did my undergraduate studies. I started at Rutgers University and ended up finishing up my undergrad and my master's at the University of Phoenix.
Nice. Now, what is your undergraduate degree in and your graduate degree?
My undergraduate degree is in business administration, and my master's degree is in curriculum and instruction.
All right.
Yes.
Woman after my own heart. I love it. I write curriculum as well. And I gotta snatch this.
Sure.
Camera 2. Or what? Well, I saw this book, Don't Wash My Hair. I mean, the phrase, don't wash my hair, this is like the thing. And when I saw it, I said it to you. I have a story about this, about my daughter. I sent her somewhere. I said, do me a favor, don't wash her hair. Because if you wash her hair, you're not going to know what to do with it. Before I even got into anything with the book, because I'm like, this is such a story that we have to deal with, you know, as African American females. So how did you get started with this book?
Sure. The story actually came from my family. It was a routine that myself and my daughter would go through almost every night about washing her hair and her not wanting to get her hair washed. And we would have this battle back and forth. Yes, you have to get it done. No, I don't want to get it done, back and forth. And eventually, out of nowhere, she just decided, yes, okay, I'll get my hair washed. And I thought it was just a great story. And I wanted to share it, and I wanted to bring my family into it. So I created the story, and I included my entire family. And I'm very happy that it's finished, published, and I have the opportunity to share it. So.
That is beautiful. And years ago, my daughter and I were in a movie called Hair Story. I don't know if it ever came out. It was supposed to be a Lifetime movie. Samuel L. Jackson's wife, LaTanya Richardson Jackson, was like the producer.
Right.
And so my daughter met Samuel L. Jackson. She was sitting there talking to him. I met Sam. And it was about appreciating your hair. And so as a hair story, like, I just feel like we need so many more hair stories to be told. It's so important. So now that your book is published, how has it been used in our community? Because we all have these hair stories. How's it been used?
Sure. When I started to promote the book, I went to a lot of community events and book festivals, and a lot of people would come up to me and say, I can relate to this story. So what started to happen was people would ask me to come and read the story at school events, at other community events, and I was just really happy to do that. So that's kind of how it got started. And then after that, I started to use it in the classroom, as a read aloud. And then afterwards, the teacher part of me, there's comprehension questions at the end to keep the story going, to talk about, story elements, character, setting. So to really make a connection with the students, not just to read the story, but then there's some afterwards, some after discussion of the story to build that comprehension.
Right. And then some people, certain demographics may not understand our hair story because I remember my hair stories when I was a kid. It was painful. It was grueling. It was like,
Yes.
And at the end, my mother's like, oh, you went crazy going through it, but you liked the results. I'm like, but It was so much.
Absolutely.
So, but I don't know if other communities go
Well,
through that.
you know, it's interesting that you say that because at a lot of the events that I participated in, a lot of people, and not just of color, would come up to me and say, "This story took me back to when I had to get my hair done," and I specifically remember, you know, that whole process. And then I've also had people that have adopted children of color, and they looked at the title and said, you know, this was an issue that I dealt with my adopted child, and you know, I love the story, and it was a great way to open the conversation. So that was really cool to, you know, see that my story not only made people remember their issues with hair, but then also that families, you know, new families that had foster children of color, that it was a opening conversation for them. And then just to bring a smile, just that it's just a great family story. So
I think that's another beautiful dynamic that you tap into with this book. Those people who don't understand how to do that hair texture.
Absolutely.
Sometimes I feel like it's innate. We just know because that's what we know. But then there are some of us who say, I don't know what to do. I'm like, what? How come you don't know? One of my girlfriends, her hair is tangled up still right now. And I told her, I said, get some silky conditioner and put the shower cap on and start teasing. And she's like, you saved my life. She said, but the back, I need somebody else to do the back because I can't see it. And I'm like, how come you didn't know that? But that's her hair story with this hair, you know? So let me just ask, what was the idea behind your book? What was the bigger idea about it?
My thought was that I wanted to share the story, but I also wanted just to take an everyday moment in my life, in my family's life, make it a story, but then also bring my family into it and just share it. I told my husband several times, I said, I don't care if I didn't sell one book, but just the opportunity to put the story to paper, to have the book published, so that I could leave the story for my children. And that when I'm long gone, that the story is still here.
It's a family heirloom.
Absolutely, absolutely. So that was kind of the idea behind it. And then also, yes, it is about hair, but also that the main character in the story, she makes a decision based on her, not on what everybody else said. So I wanted to use the story to also empower young girls, you know, very on to make the decision, make decisions for themselves. To empower them. That whole self-confidence thing, and I think that that is so important for young girls to have.
It is.
So
and that confidence of, like, some people are like, I have a cousin, if my hair is not right, I'm not going. And not just do a little something simple, but like she would say, I'm not going, my hair. I'm like, but that's that confidence. Like, whether everybody else thinks it looks nice or not, if you're not comfortable with it, you don't feel as confident to go out in the world. You know? So this is a beautiful book, but are you planning on writing any more books?
I am. The idea or the plan is to actually do 5.
Oh, great.
A series of 5 books around the main character, Gracie, but then also branch out into other characters, maybe some of her friends. There's another book, book 2, is scheduled to come out July 2020.
Oh, all right.
And Gracie's a little bit older, and the name of that book is called A New Class, where she has to go, in the beginning, reluctantly go to a new class, but she makes some decisions as to how she gets into that class.
Oh, nice.
So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, so that's about that decision making, and I like that because that requires critical thinking. What do what I'm weighing my options. What do I want to do? And I think that's important because I'm going to tell you, everybody's not a thinker. Everybody is not given opportunities to really think. They're not given a lot of choice. Just eat this, just do that. Well, I just did it because that's what they told me. We got to stop that with our kids. We have to help them to deal with deductive reasoning. and weigh things, So I think that's a great concept. I hope you have great questions for that too.
Yes, yes.
So what motivates you to write?
My biggest motivation would be my family. It's because of them that I'm here and that I do what I do. My immediate family, as well as my parents. All the sacrifices that they've done for me to get me to this moment, this point in time, as well as just people who, unfortunately, had the ultimate sacrifice for me as a black woman to be sitting here at this moment right now. So I feel that that's a big motivator for me, that I want to make not only my family proud, my parents proud, but the people that came before me proud.
I love that you said that, because that's one of my things. Like, I have so much of the spirit of Ida B. Wells. She fought and she pushed. She made noise. She resisted tyranny. And she was bold about it. And we can't sit back after all these women came before us and made this way, paved this way, and said, I'm going to fight. I belong here. I belong doing this. That we have to step outside of the normal box. Let's contribute to the narrative. That's so important. And I love that you have that concept. And for the next generation, for your grandchildren, for their children, for other people's children.
Right.
I have to reiterate that, because this is a generational thing. Everything is generational. And if we don't look at things as generational, we miss out, and we have pockets of generational trauma, and some people call it generational curses. But if we don't stop and reflect on what happened before us, what we're doing, and what we carry down, we're not going to do the best things.
Sure.
So if we do that reflection and those analyses, and we can do better and live better.
Sure. It's nice to be a good model.
It is.
It's not an easy road, but it's always, I think it's always just to be a good model for our young people coming up.
And on that note, what kind of advice would you give to any upcoming aspiring authors?
Sure. For any aspiring author, I would say, one, write about what you know.
Right.
Definitely write about what you know. I would also say, once you do have a piece, have people critique it. I have a focus group so that you can get some good feedback about your writing. I would also say, believe in yourself. Even when you may be a little uneasy, you gotta believe in your story. And lastly, I would say, definitely look for your market. Look for the target market for your book.
Right.
Those are I would think the top ones.
Right.
So.
Who are you speaking to? That, because you were like, I was trying to find your book. Our book, like, who are we speaking to? It depends on who cares about what's going on. I would assume you're targeting families. Because
sure, families. Also, when it comes to, I guess, the marketing part of it, I was trying to think about where would my book do well, and I thought about like daycares, daycare centers where you're doing a read aloud, with a story that looks like maybe the children that you're reading to. Also, the hair market, hair shows all over the place. Great. I think that's a little bit more targeted market to go, into. So we'll see.
What are some of the other places you would like to see your books? Because I love that you said hair shows, because hair shows, like, people, they bring kids to hair shows. And if you create that niche at a hair show, a place where little girls can be and say, oh, okay, I don't have to have my hair spiked up, but look, I can get a little girl hairstyle, and talk to Luster Pink. Maybe they have a little, because they out of Chicago, maybe they're having some hair situation. You bring your book,
Right, absolutely.
It's perfect.
Absolutely. So other places I'd like to see it?
Yeah.
I would love to see my book in libraries. I would love to see my book in classrooms. I'm currently working on a curriculum, just like a simple lesson plan that could go with the book, which would be great. And I also would like to see my book on a movie set, or in a commercial, or on a TV set.
Nice.
As a prop.
Right here with the village hairdos.
So great.
Sorry, to get back.
Yes.
So, how have you used this book in your first grade classroom?
Sure. In my class, again, I have read the book as a read aloud, and then after I've read the book, we talk about I use the comprehension questions in the back of the book,
right.
The repetitive text, the story elements. Who's the character? What happened in the beginning? What happened in the middle? What happened at the end? Does this story remind you of anything? Like make a self-connection, like a personal connection to the story. Some other things, that's how I have used it in the classroom. But I'm really excited about, just recently I reconnected with one of my college professors, and she had mentioned to me that one of her students a year ago did a whole paper on my book.
What?
And just so happened, we kind of connected, and I'm like, get out of here. So from that, she said, we're looking at putting my book in her curriculum coming in January. So I am really excited about that project.
Wow, what school is that?
Stockton
University.
University.
You just gave me a great idea as well.
See that?
Oh my goodness.
So
and that's some good Black psychology, because although someone may say, oh, you got us reading a children's book in a Black psychology class, but it's still Black psychology. And when we look at that psychological situation, that hair stuff is big. Like I talked about on my live video,
big.
That our hair was just made legal in certain states, and not every state, because we've been told that our hair, the way it naturally grows out of our scalp, is not fit for a professional environment. So what someone is telling us is that we don't want you in this professional environment in your natural state. You can't. It's unacceptable, and you got to do something different. And that is traumatizing. That has a psychological impact. So this is why this, to tie in those different things, that's important. I love that.
Sure. Also, just the family aspect of it. A great family story that can connect not just with hair, but with families. It can connect with just the early decision making that young girls will have to make.
Yeah. Definitely.
So it connects on a couple different ways, which is really nice.
I love it.
And I'm very thankful for that.
Yes. It's multidimensional.
Absolutely.
That's important.
Absolutely.
You can use it so many ways. I love it.
Yes.
So, how involved are you in your community?
When I'm not writing, when I'm not teaching, I do volunteer some time at my church where I teach younger children. And I also work with a women's group when I can, and that women's group works with women and young children.
Nice. So, what is your favorite part of this book? What's your favorite part?
Sure. My favorite part of my book, Don't Wash My Hair, is when Gracie finally says she will get her hair washed, and the whole family says, "What?" And it's just so funny, and it's exciting. And there's a part in the book, and you have to look for it on that page. Even the fish in the picture get excited. They show an expression of excitement, and I put that in there personally because I just wanted, to show the surprise and awe that the family shared. So that's my favorite part.
Right. I love it because it's almost like what is it? American Dad, where the fish talks and the fish bowl and stuff.
Yes.
It's all involved with the family. Like, no, that's fun. That's funny.
Yes.
I like that.
Yes.
So why do you think families can relate to your book?
I honestly think families can relate because they have a similar story. Several times when I'm out in the community, people will walk up to me and say, the title alone just took me back to being a child and my situation of when my mom used to wash my hair. Or I would have a mom and daughter come up and say, and the mom would say, oh, I remember when I had to wash her hair. And you could see the daughter go, oh, that face. So I just think it's a good connection, and it connects across all lines.
And I'm laughing because you're making me think about how many times you got popped with the comb. How those were the times when you got a chance to yell and scream at your mother. You would never disrespect your mother, but when your hair is getting done, that is like the fight of the century. I mean, the trauma.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm telling you, that's one of the reasons why I just so like connected with this. Like, oh my God.
So at that reaction, I have
Unbelievable.
gotten so many times.
It's
is
like
amazing.
therapy. Yeah, it's like therapy. It's like, so it wasn't just
You
me.
relate, you understand.
It wasn't just me.
Exactly.
So it's really it's a therapeutic thing, and I think maybe there needs to be like a coaching involved. With okay, mother, I know you have to do this, so you do it this way. Daughter, no, just relax. Everybody, oh, you know, I don't know. I'm just thinking about like maybe something. I don't know. It's got to be something. It's got to be a way. It's got to be a way for this to happen a lot better,
right?
And not be so daggone traumatic,
right.
You know,
right.
So, you know, what was the hardest part about bringing your book to fruition? Because I was part of a team of authors, and we all had our different roles and responsibilities, and it made it so much easier. And I wasn't. And it's so funny because I wasn't part of every process.
Okay.
And then when I went back, I'm like, did y'all do so and so? Oh, I didn't, you know, and it's like, it's an interesting thing. So, like, was it just you, and how did you make this happen?
The hardest part of this whole process for me was the illustrator. Because the story itself was there, because it was something that I knew. It was something, you know, repetitive that happened a lot. So I knew the story. But the illustrator part was difficult because I had to have the illustrator take the pictures that are up here and get them down on paper.
Right.
So that was a little challenging. We actually wound up, the illustrator that we used for the book was having some difficulty. So when it came to the characters, we actually used pictures of my family. So it is very personal. This book is very personal. So.
And that, to me, that makes it more authentic because somebody didn't just do a whole assembly line of here's a story, you know. That's beautiful. But so let me ask you, who helped you with the publication? How did you do the actual publishing and, you know, as far as your printing is concerned?
I actually used a small publishing company, Seven Horns Publishing.
Okay.
And they did all the printing, did all the editing, found the illustrator, you know, that whole process was done by them.
Right. So now what else do you do when you're not, you know, writing books, teaching first grade, working in the community, working with the church? We do all these things.
Yes, we do.
What else? So yes, can you say, try to go to sleep? Try to eat a sandwich?
Yes, right. When I'm not writing, when I'm not teaching, I'm with my kids. My girls are active in different activities, so I try to be at their events and show support for them. On the back end, I am a true pocketbook person, and so I'm always critiquing different handbags, and at some point, maybe a handbag line might come. Ooh. We don't know.
You know, that's a great idea. Because I see you have the T-shirt on.
Yes.
So merchandising, you got to get your merch up. Okay.
Yes.
That is something that you definitely need to do next, because that is like the best advertisement.
Yes.
Because I saw it, I was like, oh, T-shirt. You know, that's the book. So I think that's a really great thing for you to look into next. I mentioned to you before we went on air about the Harlem Book Fair.
Yes.
And Black Book Fair. What kinds of ideas would you have to, like, you know, would you want to go and participate in those types of things?
Sure,
you know?
absolutely. Any opportunities where I can share my book, I would love to do. Because the idea is that it's such a great story. It's such a great family story. I love the comprehension at the end of the book, and I would love the opportunity to share it with everybody.
Right. So, because on my show, you know, a lot of people get to see people share on different sites and things, and I am excited for your opportunities to come up.
Thanks.
So, who would you like to thank for helping you with this book? Who helped you to make this happen?
Oh my gosh. Oh, so many people to thank. Absolutely. My husband, my children, my family, my colleagues, my publisher. And you know, there's the three in particular that really, you know, made this thing happen. Would be, you know, my publisher Tasha Grant, my #1 cheerleader Michelle Ransone, and another author friend of mine, Christina Daly. They just really pushed, so and I appreciate them. And absolutely, all of the people that I met at different events, sharing their comments and their feedback on the story, and just how much they love the story. And of course, you.
Oh, thank
because
you.
if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be here. So thank you so much.
Thanks. I'm so glad you took the time. Oh my God. I love that Author's Alley at NJEA.
Yes.
I love it.
Yes.
I need you to keep coming back to that. I also mentioned to you about ASALH, the Association for the Study of African American Life and History. They have the authors thingy. It's on a Saturday,
Okay.
and so people get to buy the books, and people who are in positions to get books for school districts, so they can have it.
wonderful.
You know, like classroom books. I mean,
Absolutely.
I'm connected with so many educators and principals, vice principals, who can get this book and put it out there.
Would love to.
Yes, use it in the classroom for their kids.
Absolutely.
You know,
just a great story.
yes. I just want to thank you for doing this.
Yes.
For writing this book, bringing the story together, doing the work. I want to thank you for coming on to my show, Tara.
Thank you.
Tara
Thank
Mozee.
you so much.
Thank you. You came a long way.
Yes.
And so I'm going to tell everyone who tuned in, thank you for tuning in to We the Village.